Imagine yourself owning a future champion.
Pink Lloyd, the gift that just keeps on giving.
Now immerse yourself in the potential of a young racehorse.
Giant strides from last to first.
Be part of the ownership dream with unlimited possibilities. Dreams become reality in our winner's circle. Go to ownaThoroughbred.ca or call ownership specialist Stacey Roberts at the HBPA of Ontario.
Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Thursday, March the 19th, race number 8 at Oaklawn Park. We're going a mile. It's a very competitive optional claiming race, and it's brought to you by the HBPA of Ontario and their ownaThoroughbred.ca initiative. Make 2020 your year for excitement. Visit ownaThoroughbred.ca for current ownership opportunities, or join them at one of their ownership information events at Woodbine Racetrack on April the 25th or May the 23rd. Event information is available online, or call the HBPA of Ontario's ownership specialist, Stacey Roberts. Reserve your tickets today and visit ownaThoroughbred.ca. Here's the field for race number 8 at Oaklawn Park, Mike. Boy, this looks like a real war on paper. You've got a couple of horses coming off layoffs with gaudy class lines, but there could be a barbecue up front.
Yeah, this is a very interesting race. There's some good horses in here, and I do think that pace could really have a big say in the outcome. The 3 Home Run Trick and the 6 My Sixth Sense, I think they're both contenders in here, Dan. But to me, they both also look like need the lead types.
And the 11 is also very fast. Timeform US has those 3 horses nose to nose to nose in the early portion through a red bar scenario, and that could certainly set things up for the closers, even with a short stretch of the mile run at Oaklawn Park. And one horse that might benefit from the pace, although this one has shown some speed in the past as well, is down towards the rail. That's a Hunger Burning Love, who's going to remove the blinkers second time off the Ingrid Mason claim. This horse is also stretching out in distance. This horse has shown some ability in the past. I wonder if it's more of a starter horse, sort of a low-level claimer than a true optional claimer.
I do think they found a tough spot for this horse here, but second off the layoff, if they can get this horse to settle into a trip, I can see this horse having a say in the outcome here, Dan. This horse has some back races that would make him pretty tough in here.
The number 2, Eben, is making his 3rd start off of an extremely long layoff, and it looks like he is slowly racing himself back into shape. He's now getting an opportunity to stretch out to a mile, a distance in which he's been successful in the past, albeit around one turn. He was in against a nice horse last time out when entered for the $40,000 tag. Impact Player stepped up to the 62.5 level, finished 3rd with an 84 buyer. He might have the right running style and a nice inside post.
Yeah, I agree with all that stuff. That was a pretty tough 3-life 40 claimer he was in last time. He didn't run that poorly. He was never a real factor in there, but he didn't run terribly in that spot. I'll admit that I spent a lot of time trying to talk myself into this horse at a price in this race, and I will use him somewhere. I'm concerned about the 2-turn mile.
And we just saw Eben finish a good 3rd in that claiming race at Oaklawn Park. The 3 is Home Run Trick. And the question for Home Run Trick, a horse that has buyer speed figures certainly fast enough to win this race, is A, can he sit? B, if he can sit, can he handle hot pace pressure and still keep going? Because that was not the case last time out. He received a really nice ride. We'll take a look at Home Run Trick's race. They backed this pace down to a 48. He was being pressed by 101 shot on the backstretch. He flicked that horse away. He's really sprinting home right now. It's his 2nd race off of a long layoff. The horse has ability, but it's going to be a different pace scenario in all likelihood.
Yeah, it really does seem that way. I mean, he just got absolutely loose last time. I do like that he really looked good off that long layoff, though, Dan. He had plenty in reserve around the 2nd turn to open up on that field. He was an easy winner last time. Obviously, he's got the back class and the back figures to be a huge player in here. I do think it's going to be a lot harder for him to wire this field, though.
The 4 is Drifting West, and I really like the way this horse has been handled. It took him a long time to get to the races. He didn't debut till August of his 3-year-old campaign. He's shown some ability. He's been freshened. I would not be surprised if he comes back a fully mature 4-year-old and ready to do some damage. He has a lot of upside potential. He must improve on the buyer scale.
He's going to have to get faster. He's one of several horses here coming back off of a layoff, so you don't know what you're going to get from a lot of these horses. He's got to improve, and he is a horse who, as a 3-year-old, as good as he was, or as good as he was getting, he wanted to be forward in his races.
And there was Drifting West just going gate to wire in his most recent race at Remington, a race in which he contested a pretty solid pace. The number 5 in here is Always. And Always last time out was entered for only $25,000, but he came with a rush. We'll watch Always' race from Oaklawn on February the 27th. Only a 74 Beyer speed figure, but when you see this horse's running style, it gives you some optimism that he maybe can close this field down.
Yeah, he does he will sit and make a run from off the pace. That's a good thing. He is stepping way up in class here, though. This is a much tougher race.
Number 6, My Sixth Sense, was claimed for $50,000 3 starts back by Steve Hobby, who's having a very strong Oaklawn meet, immediately paid dividends with a win over a muddy track. And then last time out, he just caught the good Knicks Go, the horse who freaked out over a speed favoring track, earning a big Beyer speed figure. I think some things went against My Sixth Sense in that race. The track seemed to favor front runners. Knicks Go just freaked out. He has shown the ability to sit and finish, and he's a very strong contender in here.
Yeah, we'll see. That trip maybe didn't work out perfectly for him last time. Just sort of in and among horses for a long way. It looked like he maybe wasn't that comfortable with that. He didn't have much of a finish that day. I don't want to hold that race against him. His prior 3 starts are all very strong, but he was also right on the lead in those races.
Number 7, Rotation, is a graded stakes winner. Let's watch his most recent race, the Super Derby at Louisiana Downs. He got a really nice ride from Richard Aramia. He saved ground on the backstretch, came 3 wide in the stretch, very late to change leads in the lane, but he got it done with a promising 91 Beyer speed figure. The 3rd place horse has come back to be on a roll in his next 4 starts, 1 win, 2 seconds, 1 third. Beyer's in the range between 91 and 101. Asmussen usually has him cranked 2nd, 3rd off the layoff. I wonder what we'll get off the bench with this horse, but he's going to get the right setup.
Yeah, I'm worried about the layoff, but he's got upside as a forward. I mean, he was improving from race to race as a 3-year-old anyway. We saw, the Super Derby win. Listen, he got a great trip, and he did take a big step forward to win it. His prelude before that, he has a huge excuse with a terrible start in that race. So I'm not going to be surprised if he takes a step forward here.
Tough to analyze the 10 Cashanova, claimed by a very strong trainer in Brad Cox for $50,000, immediately wins 2 in a row. We see Brad improve these horses, but it's also worth noting that both of those races came over wet tracks. And we have to ask the question, is Cashanova a new horse simply because Brad's moved him up, or do you think he's more of a mudlark than anything else?
I mean, it's a real question. I don't think his fast dirt form is bad, but he certainly did take a step forward in his last 2. Was that because it was for Brad Cox, or was it because of the wet tracks? I don't know. I do like his running style for this race, though, Dan. It's a long layoff for him, but if he's going to be around that 8-1, he's a usable horse.
And we just saw Cashanova win that most recent race, and non-winners are one other than coming from well off of the pace, and that could help him in this spot. The 11 is Nashville Knight. Nashville Knight has never run on dirt. He's only raced twice on the surface, and while his current form leaves a little bit to be desired from 2 sprint races at Oaklawn this meet, he could have a say in this outcome simply because he has stretch-out speed and could push some of the shorter price contenders early.
Yeah, I mean, he's a horse you have to reckon with one way or another. I don't see how he could possibly win this race stretching out from post 11 with 2 quality speeds to his inside. But he could certainly have an impact on this race.
Wide open race, race number 8 at Oaklawn, your Thursday race of the day. Mike, where are you heading?
I'm just going to believe in Cashanova. The layoff concerns me, but he looked really good winning those 2 starts for Cox over this track last year. And I don't think he's a wet track horse.
No, I agree. It's going to have to deal with a little bit of a layoff, but boy, if he grows up just like the Asmussen horse and gets the right setup, he could come with a strong leg kick. 8-1 on the morning line for Cashanova, ridden by Joe Talamo. I'm very curious to see what we get from Home Run Trick. He's going to have to deal with some hot pace pressure early. This is a horse that's capable of running some fast races. If he gets a little bit of a breather, we'll see. I don't really love him at 3-1. This race, maybe a little bit too tough for me. I'll just stick with Beer. The 10, Cashanova, his top selection. Race number 8 at Oaklawn on Thursday is approximate post time, 4:51 Central. Good luck.